Hello, YouTubers. I would like to introduce myself. I go by the username of Chaos, and I would like to basically set up my first custom water cooling PC. This is actually my first custom water loops PC. I have done custom made computers in the past couple of years, but at this time I decided to go on my very first custom water loop after 5 years from my last one. My last one was basically back in 2018 when I built the with when the RTX 2080 Ti came out and the i9 9900K CPU came out as well. Also, it was running with the air cooler with Noctua, and so this time I decided to do a huge upgrade and go with the black and white theme with Thermaltake. As you guys see in display here, this is the Thermaltake take. I will be using the Maximo Z790 Apex with the i9 13900KS CPU, and for the graphics card I will be using the Asus TUF 4090 graphics card, which I will be adding this on a wire block using the EK Quantum Vector 2 in this case. So with this video, I created this context as a way for showing you guys for entertaining purposes. This is my first official video, so please excuse for any quality issues you guys may face. This includes sound issues or anything like that. But if you guys do like my content, please let me know in the comment section. You guys welcome to leave any feedback or any other type of subject feedback, any content you want me to make in the future. I'll be more than happy to do so. My goal is definitely not going for becoming a YouTuber, but you never know if basically one becomes a YouTuber anyways. That a lot of YouTubers says they're there for entertaining purposes, but ends up becoming one after having many subscribers and followers. So again, I said it is out for entertaining purposes. It's something I really enjoy. I really enjoy watching other channels, and I got this build is dedicated thanks to one of the inspirations from the Science by IFR, which is the Science by Facebook channel. For those of you guys who follow him, which is scary, it does an amazing job. I also follow channels like 32 Cents. Great work for them. Kudos to them for everything they do. So I definitely decided to get this custom computer based on one of the Science by IFR's model that was done 2 years ago with the Thermaltake Core PATG case, and of course this will be with a more newer version. I'll call it like the 2023 version as well. So I hope that you guys really enjoy the content. Let's go ahead and get this started.
Access granted.
soothe your pain. I won't ease your strain. I'll seek you out, flay you alive. One more word and you won't survive. And I'm not scared of your stolen power. See right through you anyhow. I'll seek you out, flay you alive. One more word and you won't survive. And I'm not scared of your stolen power. See right through you anyhow. I see.
Oh.
I'll seek you out, flay you alive. One more word and you won't survive. And I'm not scared of your stolen power. See right through you anyhow. in your only memory of me, my dearest mother. Here's a lullaby to close your eyes. Goodbye. It was always you that I despised. I don't feel enough for you to cry. Oh well, here's a lullaby to close your eyes. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. So insignificant, sleeping dormant deep inside of me. Are you hiding away, lost under the sewers? Maybe flying high in the clouds. Perhaps you're happy without me. So many seeds have been sown in the field, and who could sprout up so blessedly if I had died? I would have never felt sad at all. You will not hear me say, I'm sorry. Where is the light? Wonder if it's weeping somewhere. Here's a lullaby to close your eyes. It was always you that I despised. I don't feel enough for you to cry. Oh well, here's a lullaby to close your eyes. Goodbye. Here's a lullaby to close your eyes. Goodbye. It was always you that I despised. I don't feel enough for you to cry. Oh well, here's a lullaby to close your eyes. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Here's a lullaby to close your eyes. Goodbye. It was always you that I despised. I don't feel enough for you to cry. Here's a lullaby to close your eyes. Goodbye. Here's a lullaby to close your eyes. Goodbye. It was always you that I despised. I don't feel enough for you to cry. Here's a lullaby to close your eyes. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.
the chemicals. I'm breaking in, shaping up, then checking out on the prison bus. This is it, the apocalypse. Whoa. I'm waiting.
it takes to fool this town. I'll do it till the sun goes down and all through the night time. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what you wanna hear. Keep my sunglasses on while I shed a tear. It's never the right time. Yeah. I put my arm around, show you how strong I am. I put my arm around, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. I'm so confident. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Break down, only alone I will cry out now. You'll never see what's hiding out deep down. Yeah, I know, I've heard that to let you feel and show is the only way to make friendships grow, but I'm too afraid now. Yeah, I put my arm around, show you how strong I am. I put my arm around, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. I'm so confident. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. I put my arm around, show you how strong I am. I put my arm around, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. I'm so confident. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today.
Hello YouTubers, Kes here. So this is a little bit of a debrief here about this the new build here. So far I'm working on doing some overclocking. As I'm going for this, and of course I did start with Prime 95, which passed in this case also. So I did by XMP2, and then definitely load the full settings, which I'm planning to do some manual overclocking. Now here's a little overview debrief about the build itself. I'm sure many of you guys can tell that there were some changes with this. So from the video there's been some changes, and of course this build was done a couple of days later because one, I was sick. Second, the graphics card is actually not the top. This is actually now the RTX 4090 Strix, overclock version, and this is a new water block. What happened is the graphics card itself was defective. There was some issues, so I had to send it back to repair to Asus, and the EK water block got damaged, as well as the Razer card, which unfortunately things just didn't work out. I really was unhappy how, you know, bad the quality experience I had with them. I decided to get with Thermaltake Razer cable, and then of course while waiting for the top, I decided to actually I had a deal with a seller in eBay where I purchased the graphics card with the water block already pre-installed, which worked perfectly, and everything. So now the next couple of things is that being my first custom water loop, it was definitely a challenge. One of the reasons is because, again, I'm sure many of you guys who are into getting into the custom water loop for the first time, it is, especially if you never done any plumbing, you know, like tubes and all that, it can be challenging. First, a couple of things like in the general, because I haven't bought a PC for 5 years since my last PC. I'm coming from i9 9900K and the RTX 2080 Ti graphics card. So with this, only small issues with, for example, putting the water block, the CPU water block was just a little pain, but wasn't much, as you guys saw previous on the first part of the video. And then of course, one of the challenges was that, you know, in previous motherboard, I actually didn't have to, like, there was that little switch that you pull with the M.2 SSD drives. So I had to remove the second sticker, which I forgot for the thermal. The first one I did remove perfectly, but for both I kind of forgot to, like, you know, tell the little switch there. So that was almost full of doubt, and glad that I followed my hinge, because I had a feeling that something was definitely not right there. So I needed to double check, which fortunately I was able to, and I didn't install any tubing at that time for this part there. So the second, the other part next is that is the tubing part. The tubing process was actually, like you guys saw in PD videos, that this was connecting to this side over there, while this one was the water radiator was going to that one. But things didn't work out, which I followed the instructions based on Thermaltake, and I decided to go based on manual, which is, you know, for water inflow, because this side is actually inflow for the CPU, and then of course the outlet and all that. So inlet, outlet, and that's how normally I've been going through the process and stuff. Now this was really challenging. This part was it took me a bit of time to get this there, because every time I did this, it didn't pass leak test. And of course, I have to tell you guys that one of the major things that really helped me to prevent a disaster was getting a leak tester. So if you guys are into custom water loop and you guys are for the first time, please make sure that you guys are getting a leak tester, because that is going to save you guys a lot of trouble. It's going to save you guys a lot of problems in the future. So make sure that you guys, like, definitely get a leak tester, because if you're getting some major leaks, it's because definitely something is definitely going on in there. So that definitely helped me a lot, and thanks to that leak tester, I didn't experience any leaks. Of course, I did lose some patience, and I decided that after losing leak testing for this, I decided to just put up some distilled water, and of course, I end up getting some leak there, you know. And of course, a little bit on there, because it wasn't like really tightening a little bit, so it was untied a little bit at maybe while I was putting the other tubes. So this one I was able to finally, after some time, one of my strategies is, guys, and what that may work for you, is buy enough silicone. So because the one you get for Thermaltake, it is one size, and of course you have to measure and all that. But one thing that worked for me, that's so from a YouTuber from Thermaltake, is that the guy actually had a bunch of silicone, and you insert it onto the tube and make sure that it fits all the way to the end and beginning part of the tube, and then just cut it and just leave it. Make sure that you add enough soap because you want to take it after that using something like the back part of your I don't know, if a pencil pen, just to take it out a little bit. Just use the part, just push a little bit. That should remove the silicone pretty easily. I didn't have much trouble with that because I had some good soap on that. So that actually helped it, because when you do the bend, make sure you guys wear some gloves also, is that you'll be able to bend it, put it up inside fast, and just bend it enough. Make sure that it's staying straight in the middle part of the fitting, because if it goes like side, you know, miss it, that's gonna leak the hard pen. So you want to definitely be very precise when it comes to bending and heating up in there as well. So fortunately, I was able to use a strategy and it worked perfectly. The last small issue was a little bit this one here. This one took me a little bit work, but I was able to get it managed using that strategy. So after that, this one was the next one, which it wasn't that bad, because the problem is that the one I currently have, it caused this to go a little bit below, because this is a little bit, you know, the height and everything is a little bit you know, doesn't go work too much, you know. This goes, so I tried to make as much straight as possible. And then of course when I got I pretty much used all my 4 tube boxes, you know. I had like, I purchased like a 4-pack of PETG tubes, and of course and I using the last one. So after getting the last one, I was able to, I guess, which, you know, pretty much I was able to get that perfect bend there by using just one good cut, and then just, you know, do like the extra bend there just to lower it a little bit, which it worked perfectly, because that kind of, you know, on my last on the last install, it was kind of ugly, guys. It was not really aesthetic, and it was just like, you can see this, it was bent, and then it just, you know, it was bad. Even when I use a 90 degrees version there, like, you know, to connect 2 tubes, it wasn't working, because the problem is that even if you do this, it was to be the height was to be a little bit slightly in the upper, so that will have been the issue there. But you know, it's better than nothing, and it's a little better than how it was before. This one didn't give me much trouble, honestly. So I did use a slight extension because it was slightly off there, but it worked perfectly. This one didn't give me much trouble as well. I think actually I did it all in one. The next problem I had, guys, was so besides the GPU and just slightly small, you know, mistakes, I'm sure you guys can see that the final RGB completion didn't go as planned. The fans for the power supply, they actually run, but at some point it turned off, and then it just didn't turn back. I tried downloading the Thermaltake software, I power off, on and on, which unfortunately didn't work. So yeah, the fans are running, because I did actually use, like, you know, a little bit of lighting there to light to make sure, but it looks like the fans was running perfectly. So you know, it's just the RGB not turning on. So I'm gonna have to keep insisting and working and see what's going on with that. Other than that, the, you know, drain balls there, only slightly prone at the end. I was trying to, like, you know, the fans were just not turning correctly, because this type of connection, you know, the magnetic port is a little big, and you know, it's just, you need to play around and work a little bit. So one challenge I had with this case is that, of course, besides being a very big case, it took a lot of effort, guys. It was a lot of work, because one is, you know, you had to align frames perfectly. This is an older case with new parts, so it was a little bit challenging getting this and that, you know. And of course, with the fans and the magnetic part, it's a little bit bigger, so you had to, like, you know, you had to work around different places to, you know, manage cables not to look ugly around inside. So I had to, like, you know, do a little work, use the extra hose I have, and all that. So yeah, it was a lot of work, guys. It took me a couple of days, no more purely for tube bending, but it was lack of the graphics card, and of course I was sick too, so I needed to have some rest there. But after getting this replacement graphics card and all that, it worked perfectly. The one I got, decided to just go ahead and sell on eBay, which it's working perfectly because it was tested. So yeah, this will definitely do fine. the processor is you know, it's definitely hot. Even when you're downloading something, it definitely goes to around 96%, all that. But right now I haven't done the final tunings, so I'm gonna be doing some more tests. It did pass Prime 95, which I did some you know, stress tests on there for sure. It did have 100 degrees Celsius, which is completely normal when you overstressing test, but it did pass for parts there. I didn't, like, you know, it didn't cause my system to crash or anything. It worked perfectly. So right now it was just, you know, a couple of things. Oh, and most important things is after the boot, I decided to, of course, use the EK prep loop cleaner, set it up. Then, of course, one mistake was also that for the also now that for so just a few ports that needed to get a little bit more like extension fit, and a little bit extension fittings and all that. Make sure that you guys do get in, if this is your first far loop, make sure you guys get some extensions. It's definitely can be helpful. Get from 10 centimeters, millimeters, 10, 20, and 30 if possible, because, you know, definitely that was gonna save you a lot of trouble, guys. Especially that it helped me out, especially for the CPU side there, because sometimes if you're using the 90 degrees, you know, fittings and all that, it may, you know, be a little bit tiny there where you are. So definitely get some extension, guys. And yeah, the loop cleaner worked fine, but it did took me some time to get the foam out. I had to usually use distilled water. And of course, because the problem with this loop is that unfortunately not the water drains out, because this is vertical, so it kind of stews. I had to use like one of those electronic vacuums. It's kind of small, but it's actually good because the hose allows to, you know, fit in the hole. So I had to use in some part lower and higher power inside, of course now outside, because that can damage the component. But using it inside actually worked perfectly. I had to use it from this port and this one here. I had to actually get some tissue to make sure that I didn't get like big spoils on that, because there was two left over here, some left over water in there, which that, you know, it was considered amount of water, distilled water, and even foam. And, you know, I didn't want to have any issues because, you know, as you guys see, this is the final coolant. That's the EK solid cloud white color in this case. So I needed to make sure I didn't have any issues. I used the loop cleaner and the super flush because I know for sure there were some residues inside, especially after, you know, cutting tubes and all that. I used sandpaper and, you know, the Thermaltake kit, you know, to clean up like the sides and all that. But I still highly recommend, guys, that, you know, I seen how kind of by experience is that there is some form of residues inside there, some, you know, garbage, something there. And even if you guys do add clear water, that can still contaminate things. Definitely do, if you're not going to use the EK loop cleaner, use the super flush, or if you use a different brand, that's definitely completely fine. You know, it's up to you guys. But because I use the EK solid white cloud coolant, I decided to use their coolant solution. So it worked perfectly at the end. After using the loop cleaner, I did use distilled water to rinse the rest of that, because it, you know, I basically purchased 2 packs of the super flush, but, you know, fortunately, because there was still more foam left, you know, there was still some foam there, you know, that was after running the super flush. So the first one I definitely didn't rid it up, so I had to use the distilled water to remove as much as possible, which completely helped. And then add the last super flush, which I ended up for 2 hours, because per EK chat support, they told me that 2 hours should be fine. You don't need to leave it at least 8 hours, like they stay up to 24 hours, especially for new loops and stuff like that. This is a new loop, so yeah, I didn't have any problems. Then lastly, just add the coolant, and as you guys see, it worked perfectly. So everything looks good. It's just, again, if you do plan to get, for example, like the Thermaltake Swamp Fan EX, make sure you guys try to get as much space, and at least find out places you can actually get the cable, because the magnetic connection is a little bit bigger than probably I think I hear about Lian Li. it's a little smaller. So if you guys do that, make sure you guys are able to manage your cables fine, because mine's a little still miss, and I'm still working on that, because it is a pain with this, because the magnetic port connectors is definitely doesn't fit on those holes for sure, and yeah. So yeah, the only issue is, as stated, is just the power supply, RGB not turned on. Everything else looks good. CPU is also good. 560 normally it's been going to about 60 degrees. And there sometimes jumps, because right now it's like there's a game downloading Elder Scrolls, so it is, well, it might be idling and stuff like that, about 71 degrees or something. The max it has had, because I did download about 2 games at once and all that, a bunch of things, it did go to about 96 degrees Celsius. But again, I'm planning to do some overclocking, maybe at the same time do some underbolt and all that, because I haven't come to the process, even overclocking RAM and all that, just like my original goal is. So yeah, I'm gonna be monitoring to see how everything is. I know from many people says that the i9K and the KS are pretty hot chips, so they intend to be hot, even to hit 100 degrees Celsius easily. I haven't gone into 100 degrees Celsius right in the spot. The only so far the only two that has getting me to 100 degrees Celsius is the Prime 95, which again it passed, and I didn't have much problem on doing that stress testing there on this for the CPU. So fortunately it looks like it's stable in a way. I just assume that comparing to the i9 9900K, the 3900K and the KS is pretty hot, just like many people stats there. So yeah, I hope you guys like the video. And again, I apologize for the quality. This is my first video also, and the first water loop, so it may not look perfect, but I feel like very satisfying, because I coming from an air cooler. I haven't even done an all-in-one, which I'm planning to do probably in another video for my friend, which I have some of the parts, but we need to get more parts on that. But going from an air cooler to a custom water loop, and first time doing plumbing, knowing about tubes and all that, I think that I can give myself a pat on the back. I feel proud of that. And if you guys are doing it for the first time, and hey, even if it doesn't look perfect, as long as you guys pass leak tests and you guys don't have any leaks and everything, I think you should definitely be proud of yourself, because you get the satisfaction after you've seen everything, you get to work, you're putting everything together. It does put a little stress on you guys. Like, it may stress you out to the point that you want to give up at some point, but I was like, what, no, I want to get this joy, because this is something I really enjoy. I really like it, and the final view is wonderful. I really love the RGB. It's very presentable, very aesthetics, as my goal is. The white part of the motherboard with the coolant going around, and the black, it's beautiful. Lilian cable looks great. Unfortunately, I could have turned for the other Lilian for the powers, for the graphics card, but I'm not gonna bother with that anymore. It's fine the way it is. Yeah, this one phone works fine. Just had to figure out with the power supply and all that. Other than that, just I'm working on downloading some games, like for example OCCT. Here's on a couple of things. This is basically the current temperature, utilizations, and basically the full settings. So it's just, as you guys see, the maximum amount, and of course everything that is just been running here. So right now there is going to be some changes. For oh yeah, and almost forgot, the graphics card is running great, cool, pretty cool. It hasn't been much low anyways in the first place because I haven't played much bigger games, but it's done actually a great job with the temperature and all that. It's pretty low, and it's being actually more easily than the CPU and stuff, so yeah, it's almost like I could say about 100 watts, while the GPU is running like pretty low there, pretty easily there, and of course the CPU is running about, it probably run maximum about like 100, I mean not 100 but 1.42 1.43 voltage there, but anyways, yeah, it isn't too bad. Right now it's just in the process of downloading game, Elder Scrolls. So yeah, my biggest tip just for those custom is just make sure you guys have enough parts. Get at least about more than four PETG2 packages, the 1000mm ones, just like you may have seen in the video if I did show it there. I'm not sure if that kind of display, it may I may be posting a link to the PC Picker Parts website, which I'm gonna have more information about my build there. You guys are welcome to view that and follow the link as well. And yeah, just try your best, guys. If you do the strategy about buying enough silicon, and just put it up on the tubes, cut it based on that. I just use like a bucket nut to cut both sides of the silicon to make sure it's right in, like don't let it like go out of each side of the tube. Just like pretty much balance out, just equally. Just make sure you have enough soap, otherwise you may have some trouble getting the silicon out. I didn't have any trouble thanks to like good amount of soap, and just that will help, because when you're doing the bend, just put it up inside quickly, bend it as you like, and then just make sure that just keep it holding for just at least 1-2 minutes. 1 minute fine, at least what it stays on a position on there, and yeah, just hold it. It worked out for me perfectly, because the other ways it worked okay, especially like this one, I didn't actually use the hand manual part. I just like tried to calculate using a measure tape and all that, so that helped also. But the manual part, they actually work perfectly for the rest of them. So this two I just did it like by just by an estimate. But for this one and this one for the GPU side and the side part of the radiator, I just use basically like the hand manual with the silicon and all that strategy. So it works for me, and it may work for you guys as well. So if you guys need more information or questions about this strategy, just let me know in the comment section. And I just hope that you guys like it. I will be doing more stone overclocking and share more information also with regarding the final outcome, and that with the overclocking, I'm planning to disable half of the E cores just to allow better efficient temperature going that, because E cores are really not a mandatory thing you need. It just helps things run in the background, but you actually don't really even need that. All the 16 ones, I'll probably about cut in half, about leaving it like about 8 sufficient cores should be enough, just because I just want to make sure to buy the temperature that will go for the rest to the P cores and the rest of the E cores, so the overclocking can go efficient and better, right in this case. So that is my goal there. I don't want to disable all E cores just because there's being displays and benchmarks where people had slightly over benchmark in some games. Some games doesn't affect them, some games does use efficient cores as well, so it isn't that big of a deal thing. But I just want to make sure that I do get the best out of there, and because I do run apps in the background, especially going to be running VMware and all the apps, I just want to make sure I do have some at least efficient cores to keep those things running in the background and all that. So yeah, and oh, and the most important thing is just make sure that you guys are updating not just your Windows, but also make sure you guys are updating if you're purchasing like a to SSD drive like the Samsung 900 Pro. I was able to update it using the this Magician software. I then had to like download the firmware and do some manual installing. So make sure you guys do update your firmware, because you know that if you guys have the 900 Pro and don't update it, then that may cause that little small issue that happened previously reported, where it showed that the health of the drive was going down. It was degrading, so you don't want to see that. So so far everything is working perfectly. And yeah, guys, if you guys like my build, definitely give me a like. You're welcome to subscribe. I'm definitely going to be doing videos similar, and also I'm hoping to, after this, to get the new Samsung 57-inch 8K monitor. Technically 4K in both sides, but it's advertised as 8K. So as soon as I get them, I think it's gonna be great. I know that GPU may not max with that monitor, with that monster, but it is something that it's something that I really want to try, going from 34-inch monitor to a all the way to a 57-inch super ultra wide, because this is an ultra wide, but it's an Alienware 34-inch ultra wide. But going from that to a 57, it's definitely gonna be a good jump, but great, because I do use about sometimes 3 monitors. I remove one and just leave the other one in the side, so I just want to have one straight if possible, and just keep them safe there. Alright guys, well yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and thank you so much guys for your time and for the day. Hey YouTubers, just showing here about the first process of the overclocking. I decided to do the CPU first, the i9-13900KS. I started with the SkatterBencher, and I did everything to the BIOS following, for those of you guys familiar with SkatterBencher's videos, I follow a couple of his strategies. Fortunately, the second one didn't work, which is the manual one. The first one, which is the XMP and the AI overclocking, did actually work, but I found the advanced overclocking with basically using the OCTV strategy to work, which actually helped a lot in this case. So I decided to finish things by using the editing everything in the BIOS, and then finalize everything in the Intel Extreme Tuning utility in this case. So as you guys see, I was able to at least get to 65 megahertz in this case. I actually could have more, but I'm deciding to just leave it there. Getting Cinematch, I get about 2455.8 points, which is a little less than the one when I did it with that going, moving these numbers here. I was able to actually undervolt this to negative 0.020 volts. I could have lower, but I think this should be okay. And of course, keeping the temperature less under 100 degrees, so I'm able to get to at least 94 degrees. My next plan is to do a stress test to see how it goes. And here is also the numbers here. Of course, in this case, it hit for Cinematch, it did hit 6300 megahertz, which is actually pretty good, decent. So with this case, it shows the stability in here. I'm planning to add the remaining of this information into the BIOS to keep it locked, including the offset and all that. And then of course do a final stress test. I'm gonna be, which I've been using tools like OCCT, Prime 95, which actually passed the previous ones as well, and of course a few other ones as well, 3D Mark demo and all that. So I'm planning to add the remaining into the BIOS, do the final test, do stress test as well. If everything goes well, I should be able to at least keep the to the full settings, and then of course from that point on, the next goal is to overclock the RAM. Of course, after going with the RAM, I'm planning to overclock the GPU as well, at least to hit my target. So I believe I was able to at least hit the desired target. Of course, if I passed the stress test with Prime 95 and all that, just like I did previously. If I'm able to hit this, then my desirable goal for hitting 65, or at least in one of them, was pretty much hit that, at least with let under 100 degrees Celsius. Normally it was set to 115, I believe. What's in that? I believe, or maximal temperature. Because the i9 100KS is considered hot, and it can actually go pretty much over. So it's not a problem. Even it could go like probably maximum about 130 degrees, I believe. But yeah, in this case, I believe I was able to hit my desirable goal. And anyhow, basically I did decide to use extreme tuning utility in the end, just so I could get some real life benchmarks and see what stability is, and then add the remaining into the BIOS and stuff, just like I did previously with the OCTT here. As you guys see, I was able to add all that information into the BIOS, and of course I'll be doing that as well. So yeah, so but let's see how that goes, and then after this, just finish up the stress test, and then see, possibly move on to the RAM side, and then for the RAM side, to the graphical side there.